everybody, welcome back to Old Man Van Running. We're here again in the Old Man Van Cave, in the Old Man Van Castle. And I'm here to give you my first impressions review of the updated Saucony Guide 16. Mild to moderate stability, daily trainer. But before I get into the nitty-gritty details of this first impressions review, let's get out on the road and the treadmill and see how the Saucony Guide 16 has performed in the first few runs for Old Man Van.
Hey everybody, it's Old Man Van. It's 1 week since my last run. I'm here with the brand new Saucony Guide 16. There they are. Take a look at those bad boys. Really nice, kind of aqua blue. Really like it. Feeling pretty good. Don't feel much different than the 15s, to be honest. But, you know, I love the 15s, and these feel pretty good as well. So these Saucony Guide 16s, like I said, are nice and kind of smooth, right? Kind of a refined ride, a little bit softer than the Guide 15 because of the Power Run Plus in that sock liner. It gives just a little bit added softness, which mutes that firm feel from the Power Run midsole. Gives it a real just nice smooth ride to it. It's really good.
So we're back. Hope you like those video clips. Hope you like that slideshow. Before we get into the details, a couple of administrative things. Please hit the like button and please hit the subscribe button. If you haven't subscribed, please do so and hit that notification bell so you'll get notified when more videos are posted. And please, please, please leave comments. Helps the channel a great deal. And if you have friends that you think might be interested in Old Man Van Running, please let them know. Okay, so let's get into the first impressions review. So, first of all, there was a big question as to whether Old Man Van was going to shell out his hard-earned dough for the Saucony Guide 16. Why? Because from every report, there was virtually no change to the shoe from the Saucony Guide 15. Just a few minor tweaks that Saucony put in there. Midsole, exactly the same, this Power Run midsole. No change. Same configuration, same Power Run material, the stability feature, that Holotech arch, same outsole, nothing changed. So it was really a question as to whether it was worth shelling out my money for this shoe. So then I posted a short poll on the community section of Old Man Van Running, and the subscribers voted, guess what? They voted for Old Man Van to review the Saucony Guide 16. So, hey, listen, I gotta listen to my subscribers, right? And I heard some additional information, or I learned some additional information, and I started to hear that these tiny improvements that Saucony made to the guide actually had a positive impact. So I appreciate all the subscribers and all the folks that voted in the poll, and you know what? I listened to my viewers and boom, there's the Saucony Guide 16. First off, the numbers. The Saucony Guide 16 is $140 US. $140 US. Listen, we're in the days of inflation, right? This shoe, a couple of years ago, would probably be about 130. 140, that's not too bad. In fact, for a shoe, and the Guide series is a very durable shoe, for a shoe that you should be able to get 300, 400, 500, even 600 miles out of, that's not a bad price. Going into the weight. The Saucony Guide 16 is 9.5 ounces in a men's size 9 or 269 grams. Listen, any stability daily trainer that's under 10 ounces is a really, really good thing. And you know what? The Saucony Guide 16 is exactly the same weight as last year's version. Moving on to stack height. The stack height in the Saucony Guide 16 is as follows. 35 millimeters in the rear foot, 27 millimeters in the forefoot for a heel to toe drop of what? Do the math. 8 millimeters. And 8 millimeters, as you may well know, is the perfect heel to toe drop for Old Man Van. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is what hasn't changed in the Saucony Guide 16 from the Saucony Guide 15. As I mentioned earlier, this midsole, this Power Run midsole, is exactly the same as the Saucony Guide 15. Nothing has changed. It's exactly the same. All the measurements, configuration, everything is exactly the same. The outsole, exactly the same. It's this XT900, I believe it is. Yeah, it's the XT900. It's high abrasive rubber in the heel. And then also in the forefoot, you've got blown rubber that's a little more sticky, a little softer. Very, very durable. As in the 14, as in the 15, you can get a huge amount of miles out of this shoe without wearing through that outsole. Flexibility is the same. It's pretty flexible shoe, but it's not overdone. Really, really good. The stability features are the same. So as I mentioned earlier, you've got this Hollowtech frame here, or this Hollowtech arch. It's made out of TPU, which is hard plastic-like material. It's got some flex in it, so it's got a little give, so it's not like a block of TPU like in the 14, which was a medial post. It's a really good, less intrusive stability feature. I really like it in this shoe. You can feel it there, but it gives a little bit, so it's muted in its control. Additionally, this is a wide base on this shoe. Again, same measurements as the Saucony Guide 15. A nice wide base from the forefoot to the rear foot. So that plants your foot. The other thing is your foot in this shoe sits cradled in the midsole, just like the 15. As you can see, the sidewalls raise up from the rear of the shoe all the way to the forefoot, both on the lateral side and on the medial side. So you see this? So as your foot is cradled in there, that keeps your foot lined. That keeps your foot aligned, and that keeps you from over-rotating inwards. Now for the improvements. Let's take a look at the 15 first. So the 15's upper is kind of rough. Kind of has a sandpapery feel to it. It's not as moldable around your foot. It's fine. It's comfortable. It's breathable, but it's not the softest upper. And there's some significant overlays, or at least more overlays than you would think you would need with the stability features in this shoe. So in the 15, you had some material right here, some overlays right here, overlays around the heel, you know, just more than I think you really need. And that's where the Saucony Guide 16 has really improved. First of all, with that upper is much softer in the Saucony Guide 16. It's an engineered mesh, but it's got a more softer cloth-like feel. It seems to have more stretch to it. It molds around your foot a little bit better. There seems to be a little more room in the toe box, which I like. It is true to size, feels really, really comfortable. And I think they made a big improvement in that upper material. Now, that improved upper material may have come at the cost of some additional weight, but those overlays that I just showed you in the Saucony Guide 15, they've reduced the overlays in the upper of the 16. So in the toe, there's very little overlay, just a little strip here. There is on the medial side, just almost like a suede overlay here. Not too bad at all. Pretty much no overlays in the heel counter. That's really good. And then in the midfoot, there's some small overlays here. The reinforcement around the eyelets, which was more all the way around on the 15, they've taken material out and they've only placed it in those strategically important areas. So I think what they've done is They've made a plusher, more comfortable upper. They've offset the weight a little bit by reducing a little bit those overlays that they had in the 15. It's just a much more comfortable upper. Some more improvements. First of all, we'll go to the laces. You know I like flat laces that don't stretch, right? Still flat laces that don't stretch. They had those in the 15. But what they did in the 16 is they added some texture to these laces. So now, when you cinch them down, you don't necessarily have to tie a double knot for them to stay tied. In the previous version, they were a little more slick, so they had a tendency to come loose. So that texture here in these laces is another decent improvement. In the midfoot, these straps right here that help when you're cinching down those laces to get a real glove-like fit around the midfoot, those have been tweaked a little bit, just positioned a little bit differently. So now they pull a little bit better from the heel area and give you a better sock-like lockdown around the midfoot. Moving on to the tongue. The tongue is still nicely padded, as nicely padded as the 15, maybe a little less padded, and that's not a bad thing. It's very plush, it's comfortable, it's not overdone. When you cinch down the laces, you don't get too much pressure on the top of your foot. So nothing to complain about. It's still a gusseted tongue, which is good, so it doesn't move around. Just really, really comfortable. Heel and ankle collar, still well padded. Again, not overdone. Not a big change from the Guide 15, but just a little bit more comfortable the material, I do think. Overall, the fit of this shoe has been slightly improved from the Guide 15. It really fits like a glove from immediate step in. Everything molds around your foot cradled into that midsole. It just feels really, really comfortable. There's enough room in the forefoot for your toe display. So I really do like the fit of this shoe. That leaves me with the most important and I think most impactful change that Saucony made to this shoe. The Saucony Guide 14, a couple iterations ago, was really, really firm, right? And that shoe, going more than like 8 miles, that was a push because it was, to me, too firm. It had that TPU medial post. I really thought that it was a shoe that was just way too firm for longer runs. They improved it slightly in the 15, that Power Run midsole material, a little bit softer than in the 14. Maybe they tweaked the formulation a bit. Really comfortable, but still a little on the firm side. And again, that shoe, I didn't feel you could go much over, maybe a half marathon at the most, but anything over that might be a little bit too firm. Well, what they did in the 16 is, let's go to that form fit or that form fit sock liner. This material right here is Power Run Plus. It's softer. And I don't know what they did differently in this sock liner than in the 15, but this Power Run Plus in this sock liner takes a little bit of the firmness away from that Power Run midsole. It feels softer. It definitely feels softer. Not too soft, but it takes the edge off that firmness in the midsole. And I could tell immediately when I first put the shoes on and started running in it that it had a different feel. It felt smoother. It felt more comfortable. It still felt supportive. It just felt like that was a little bit of magic I couldn't really put my finger on, but I knew that that midsole felt smoother and softer right out of the box. This is a softer shoe, despite the fact that the midsole is exactly the same. Kind of like magic. So really good job, Saucony, not messing with what worked, but tweaking it just enough to make this a better and more versatile shoe. Just quickly on the performance of this shoe. So this shoe does have a very gentle rocker in the front, but it doesn't like force you forward. This bevel in the heel, when you hit that, it rolls you nicely to the midfoot, and then you have a nice roll through the gait cycle with that rocker. The great thing is that rocker isn't too pronounced, so it's not like you're falling off a cliff or being pushed off your toes. It just gives you a really, really smooth roll through the gait cycle. And a little bit of flexibility there helps as well. So it's a really comfortable, smooth ride is the best way I can describe it. Now, the Power Run is not the most responsive midsole foam out there. However, that midsole material being a little bit firmer, along with that geometry of that outsole and the 4-foot rocker, makes this a very smooth ride and gives it some responsiveness. So that leads me to versatility. As you recall, the Saucony Guide 15, I thought that shoe was a pretty versatile shoe, right? It was a little bit lighter than what you would typically see, so that's good. It had a little bit of responsiveness in it. It had plenty of support, right? Not overdone, but plenty enough for most pronators, except for the extreme pronators. So it was a very versatile shoe up to maybe 10 miles to a half marathon distance. Beyond that, I thought it was too firm. In the Saucony Guide 16, I'm changing that just a bit. Because of that additional cushioning, that additional softness from the Power Run Plus in that sock liner, I think this shoe can now go beyond a half marathon, maybe up to 18 to 20 miles with no problem. So that brings me to ratings. If you recall, I gave the Saucony Guide 15 a 9.25 out of 10. The reason I didn't give it a higher score was because of the fact that it was a little too firm to go over a half marathon distance. I'm going to up the score in the Saucony Guide 16 to a 9.4 out of 10 because it's a little bit softer. It's got a little bit smoother ride because of that Power Run Plus in the sock liner. And now I feel that the shoe can go over a half marathon distance. I'm not going higher than that because, as you know, the Saucony Tempest is a much more versatile shoe, I think, than any other stability shoe out there. And the Saucony Guide 16, albeit improved, is still not at the same level as the Saucony Tempest. So Saucony, great job tweaking the Saucony Guide, making it a little bit better shoe, a little bit more versatile shoe, not messing with what works, and just, the things that you did, the things that you improved on this shoe make it, in my mind, a better shoe than before. So thanks for watching this video. If you got to the end of it, I really do appreciate it. Stay tuned in the very near future for my first impressions review of the Asics Gel Kayano Light 3, and other videos are also in the works. So I'm going to leave you, as I always do, lace up those shoes and let's get out on the roads.